Vila, welcome home again to our beautiful Craftsman-style bungalow here in Studio City, California. Spring weather is with us and the sun is shining. We're going to give you a progress report first off because although the front of the house doesn't look like it's changed much, the sides and the back, really lots of stuff is going on. On the side of the house, we've built a closet extension. On the other side of the house today, we're putting together a gate with a pergola over it. And in the backyard, well, the swimming pool is coming along nicely. We're putting down some green Indian slate. Stick around. It's good to have you home again.
Sears presents Bob Vila's Home Again.
Back in 1923, when our bungalow was built, and remember, it's a Sears catalog house from the 20s. When it was built here in Studio City, this was a very quiet little town. The movies were being made here, but still, it was kind of a suburban location. And in the ensuing 70-odd years, this has been surrounded by freeways, greater Los Angeles. It's really urban here now, so that our homeowners, the Langleys, have taken some serious steps in terms of making their house kind of a private inside-outside spaces. And one of the key things is fencing. They're just putting up an 8-foot section of wooden fencing here to really provide privacy between the street and their yard. They're lucky to already have about a 6-foot-high concrete block wall along the entire side property line because their abutter is a church and a parking lot. And they're also lucky to have features like this fine brick chimney that was probably, rebuilt in the last few years. Their idea here is to create a private garden. They want to put in a Japanese garden, which I think is going to be beautiful with rocks and bonsais and the like. And they've added a section to the house here to augment the master bedroom. These houses had very small closets, and today we want big closets. So basically this whole bump, which is 10 feet, is a closet dressing room area with a door that provides access to this private garden, as well as giving them more light and visibility. And then let's take a look in the back over here. Now, all the new construction is really here in the backyard of the house. And one of the features that's going to be key to outdoor living here is this area in front of me, which again is 10 by 3, and it's essentially a masonry base for an outside kitchen. We will build it out of red brick to match the chimney that we just saw a minute ago, and it'll include a gas grill and storage space and countertop here, right adjacent to what is essentially our outdoor living space. This porch that the homeowners have added is really an elaborate affair. It's only about 12 feet square, but it's kind of the pivotal feature to reusing this house. The old house has little rooms. Lifestyle, 70 years ago, everybody was inside or on the front porch a little bit. The backyard, they may have grown flowers, but now the backyard really becomes extra living space. It's an outdoor living room. And the detailing that Cortney has gone to a lot of trouble to bring together, our contractor, and of course our homeowner designer has gone to a lot of trouble, is replicating the front facade. If you look at this whole structure from afar, you can see that it's a replica of the gable end of the front porch of the house. And we've gone to the trouble of having the roof kind of gabled with a little Dutch gable at the end, and to bring in the exact same type of louver, even though it's kind of a conceit because it doesn't really need to be there. We're not venting an attic, but it's replicating the detailing of the front of the house. The columns are identical to the ones that were in the front of the house. And again, from the point of view of the thinking of restoration, we have left this odd bump right where it was. Now this is original, this structure here, which essentially is a closet in the second bedroom. And this is the way it was back in the 1920s. They just tucked it on. And it's just been left here because obviously it serves a purpose, but the new roof system comes right over it. It's rather odd, but it works. And if someday, 70 years from now, somebody wants to truly restore the bungalow and remove all of this structure, this will still be here. I'm glad he went to the trouble, too, of getting beadboard for the ceiling up there. His plan here, at this transitional stage where the roof system continues, is to create a secondary porch that benefits the second bedroom or guest bedroom, so that if you're a guest here and you want to sit quietly and read the newspaper outside, you don't have to be in the actual living room. You've got your own little space here. And then, of course, the whole thing continues with the garden and the swimming pool. There's a lot more coming up, so stick around. We'll be right back. Let's say hi to Cortney Lofton, our general contractor, and let's talk pool before we talk all this tile. Now, 2 weeks ago when we were here, we had the pool contractor gunite-ing this whole thing.
That's right.
And now, is it behind schedule or?
No, we're right on schedule. We've been hosing it down for 3 times a day, just to keep it moist so it cures properly.
Okay, so now it's ready for the finishing process, and a lot of people would think that first you have to do all the plaster, but that's not the case, right?
No, not at all. Our main key here is to we string a line to get our square marks off of the patio, because the patio basically is a keystone to all of this.
Right.
Then we place our coping, which is this slate, on the bond beam, which will establish our height, and we've got, you know, a slope to it, so there's water flow back
So that it'll
into the
run
pool.
off back in, yeah, and then there'll be slate along this face and slate along this step.
Correct.
It's an interesting and unusual pool design. Now, this material is exotic, isn't it? Where's it? It's Indian, is it?
It's Indian slate, yes, and it's pretty inconsistent, as well as in color and in shapes.
Yeah, look at the backside of this one. It's absolutely brown.
One of our challenges here was that there's a lot of green and blue tiles, and you know, one would spend many hours hand selecting.
And I do believe
right
our
size.
homeowner architect spent quite a few hours going to the quarry to, or rather to the wholesaler to pick all the right ones, because he was
certainly
concerned
did.
about the color match.
Yep.
Now, the pool is not only unusual in terms of the design here along the edge, but the shape is kind of in between a lap pool and a regular pool. What's the dimension again?
It's 36 feet long by 12 foot 8 wide.
Comfortable. But what I like about it is the fact that, as you said a minute ago, the porch and the pool are almost one element in the design of the backyard.
It's so as though it cascades.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. I mean, this is very neat the way you can be, you know, out here in the pool and straight up into the living space. And when this is plastered and filled with water, you're going to have the light reflection up here. It's going to be quite lovely. Let's come on up here and take a look at the work they're doing on the steps, because this is where it becomes the most elaborate.
Yeah,
Have you
well-
had to do any cutting?
Yeah, we had. You know, the size of this was 12 foot 8, and each one of these tiles come from the quarry yard 12-inch square. And they were quite inconsistent in size. But for us to have consistency with full-size tiles, we had to cut each one of them down about 5/8 of an inch.
Not a big problem with today's water saws and diamond blades and all of that. It'll cut
No.
through any of this stuff. Now, what kind of mortar are they using here?
They're using a thin set. It's a cement-based product, and you know, the consistency of it is like a thick peanut butter. They'll trowel it on to the substrate with their notch trowel.
And what's the size of that notch? Because that's always an important thing. Is it a 3/8 notch or a quarter?
And I think it's a 3/8 notch here.
That's an important, the notch really determines how much of this mud gets applied there and how high these ridges are.
As well, with the inconsistency on the underside of the tile, we want to butter each one of those tiles. And then they're pressed in place, and we use these rubber spacers.
These things right here. These have really become a critical part of the equation in laying tile, bathroom tile, quarry tile, anything like it.
And that will help us with the consistency and size.
And again, he's got his string lines guiding the way here. Now, will the risers also be done in stone?
Yes, the risers from the stone to stone will be in slate, which I think we have a piece laid
Right.
over to your right.
Yeah. Now, is that enough mortar on the back of one of these risers when he's buttering it that way?
Yes, we wanted to get all 4 points and maybe three points in the center of the tile.
Okay. So you don't do it with a notch trowel, you do it with a regular pointing trowel, and you load it up in about a half dozen places.
And well, Carlos has started earlier with using the notch trowel on the substrate, just getting a good base.
But the objective is, of course, to get thin set all over the back of this riser.
That's right.
How are you going to treat the edge here? Just grout?
Yes, it'll get grout, and once that's in place and dry, then we seal it with a water sealer.
Well, there's a lot of tile to lay here to get the rest of this deck in and the perimeter around the pool, but it's going to look beautiful. 24 hours have elapsed, and all the mortar has set so that the next step could be accomplished, which is basically grouting the tile and the risers. And these have now also been set. They haven't been grouted yet, but they took the precaution of putting spacers in as well as using duct tape to keep all these risers right where they want them, right with the correct reveal, 1/4 inch. Otherwise, they could have sagged down. So at this point, we're getting very far along with the construction of this part of the pool. We have the perimeter all laid down. Notice they've all been color matched and chosen very carefully, but we still have to put the risers all the way across the 3 sides of the pool. A lot of work. We have a lot more construction projects coming up, so don't go away. A pergola is an architectural device usually found in a garden in the landscape and usually put there to support a vine or a growing plant of some sort. And this is a rather extraordinary design by our homeowner architect that involves just tripled up 2x8s with this rather unusual angle cut on all the ends. And I'm not sure if the end treatment will be just to paint it or if there might be some metal cladding. But what's interesting is that what happens below this pergola affair is a rather complicated construction for a pair of gates. And Courtney, I want to interrupt you because I know that there are very many steps involved in getting this all together. And what we're working on here is basically the support for the gates, right?
Yes, we had set steel columns to hold the steel gates.
So they're in concrete down there.
Yes, about 3 feet down.
And now at this point, you've put in the base elements of the column, the square and the circle base, and they're glued together because they were cut in half in order to fit around the pipe steel column. Mm-hmm. And what are these for?
Well, these will be to glue the columns back together because we as well had to cut them in half to fit it around the pipe.
Let's take a look at it. They're right up here against the fence. And so this is nicely made. Is it redwood?
It's redwood.
Yeah.
I had them turned at the same time I had the columns in the back turned. And we had doweled them so it'll help with our alignment when we put them back together.
Okay. And can I help you? I mean, are we ready to put it up?
We're ready to do it. Just
All
need
right.
to glue the dowels in place.
Okay, I think we got enough glue on all this. Of course, the secret is to get the right amount of glue.
Right.
And these have been cut in half, and additionally, they have these holes drilled in them to wrap around there, the hinge pins.
Okay.
And now we've got glue in the dowel holes.
This is where it becomes a little touchy.
And now the clamps.
Now we'll use these strap clamps. It's got a ratchet on it, which will allow us to tighten it up.
Okay, and we've got 4 of these clamps on the column. How long do they have to set?
About 4 hours would be a good time for them.
All right, we won't be doing any more column work today, but let's talk about the gate. It's a pretty high gate.
Yeah, it's 7 foot. The fence around the property is 7 foot.
Why? Why
Well,
so high?
The code requires for the pool enclosure that the gate be minimum 5 foot in height.
Okay, yeah, and it's not a fence right around the immediate pool, but around the whole backyard.
Correct.
All right, and this ostensibly could be access to the little garage that was here on the property, so they have to allow an automobile to come through.
That's right.
Where'd you get these made?
The same shop that fabricated the steel column caps.
Yeah, and it's lightweight tubular steel. Will they come up easy?
Yeah, if we do a little twist here,
Yeah.
we fit them tight.
Yeah. Okay. This is awkward in here. Frank, why don't you take this end over here, because we got to flip it around, right? There you go. Now, anytime you're joining wood to metal, you've got a little bit of a challenge, and how are you doing it here?
Well, we use this Vila head self-tapping screw.
And this will go right through the wood and into the metal?
Correct.
Do you have to pre-drill?
We do pre-drill the wood. We
So
use this.
you got a countersinking bit.
Right.
And that makes a big difference. All right. Show us, Frank. Where are you going to get started?
Just anywhere. Top or bottom.
Okay.
Here.
And this is the first one, and you're going to drive your screw in the center, because that allows you to still pivot it at the two ends. There you go. It taps right into the steel.
Here, Frank, I'll pick this one up for you down here.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. We set the edge first, and then we slide all the other wood in there because it's tongue and groove. Okay.
Now let's load it up, right? We'll put all of them on?
Yeah, we'll put each board in here. Okay, well, let's snap the line.
You got it.
So all the tongued and grooved boards have been put tightly together, and in order to attach them to the steel frame, we've got to locate, first of all, exactly where the horizontal members of the steel frame are located.
On the outside.
And then the trick is going to be to
Okay, I got it.
do all the pre-drilling.
All right.
Now, are you going to secure this first before you...
Yeah, we'll put this first
Here.
screw in.
And this will just be temporary. They're self-tapping. Okay, now you're going to move all this stock down a couple of inches so that you can actually do the pre-drilling.
That's right.
All right, so now we have moved the wood away from the actual metal frame, and we'll do all the pre-drilling of the holes, which includes a little countersink, so that the screw heads will be flush with the wood.
It's okay.
Okay, and now from the other end, we'll tap them back into alignment with the metal, and then we can actually start attaching them. Okay, now that is the cutoff line, basically 1.25 inches above the top of the steel, and go ahead and cut it, Frank, and that takes care of that. We'll be back in a moment with a preview of our next show. Okay, with all the beadboard attached to the tubular steel frame, there was one more touch, a finishing touch, if you will. This is all 1x4 redwood that we've applied to the face of the gate in what essentially is a Z-strap. And a Z-strap is the way these hinges, these doors would have been put together in olden times. In fact, if you look at the original garage here with its 60 or 70-year-old doors, those are Z-straps. They don't hold up as well. Notice the one on the left is sagging quite a bit. But these should be in good shape for quite a long while. We're running out of time. Hope you can join us next week. We're going to be sanding and scraping the outside of the house and getting it ready for paint. Also, we're taking you on a tour behind the scenes at the CBS Studio Center, where they make some of the great sitcoms. Don't miss it. Till then, I'm Bob Vila. It's good to have you home again. Check out these great new resources for more information on your project. Or for more information on today's show, visit my website at bobvila.com.